So a bit ago, we had asked you to consider this organization with a bunch of problems, hazardous materials violations and improper relationships, and whether you would fix discipline or morale. We're going to share with you now a couple of our participants answering that question.
If you can build morale, if you can build how people feel about themselves, the team, and the work, then they have pride in their work. They have pride in what they do. They don't allow that license to sit and know that it's expired for 3 months and not do anything about it. So the root solution is morale, but a couple of things that are immediately damaging to other people on the team, those have to be solved with discipline, in my opinion.
For me, it's discipline. If you go in and say, this needs to change, and you have a really strong why, and you're willing to support that person or that group to make these changes, the morale will follow. If you try to fix morale first, what you're going to find is you're trying to make everybody feel good without having to make any changes. There's a good kind of pride, there's a bad kind of pride. The bad kind of pride is arrogance. And arrogance is ugly in everybody. The good kind of pride is what we call shared joy. You'll never get that feeling of shared joy on undisciplined teams.
This question that we posed to you comes from a real experience that I went through when I was a platoon leader in the Army. I had been put in charge of a support platoon that delivered fuel and food and ammunition to a 600-person armor battalion. And we had 70-some soldiers and 41 trucks, I believe. And I had come from a platoon where I was leading 16 soldiers and just 4 tanks. And when I had been sent to the platoon by our battalion commander, he'd kind of given me a charter. And he had told me that, I want you to go down there and fix discipline and fix morale. So I sort of went in with this mindset of I need to be on the lookout for what I need to fix. And I had been told at West Point, just had gone through my 4-year experience at West Point just a few years before this. And we'd been told by experts, my teachers were military officers. We would listen to speeches from colonels and generals. And it seemed like I heard again and again, like when you go into an organization, you got to go in tough. You go in hard, set the standards, like worry about relationships and other things later. Because if you don't go in hard and set the standard, you're never going to be able to recover. And if you find out this organization is screwed up, then you're not going to be able to back up if you've been nice and whatnot. And so that's ringing in my head as I'm told to go down and not even look around and find out if there are problems. I've been told there are problems. And so I chose discipline. And I chose discipline in ways that involved just like getting on people for being late in the mornings. And when they were standing around and not doing stuff, I would just come up to them and say, and just kind of be a jerk and like, you need to be working. And there were reasons I did it because like we needed to be on time and we needed to get our licenses because our entire job was driving trucks. But however I did it, I made zero connection with the soldiers, apparently, because one day, middle of February, I remember the winds whipping and I got to go to the bathroom. No other like easy way to put it. I got to go to the bathroom. So I sit down in a porta potty, middle of Yakima Training Center. It's probably like 20 degrees. I can picture it. Like I remember my gear just kind of being down on the ground as I'm sitting there. And I look up to the left wall as I'm going to the bathroom and I see this writing and I start reading it. And I pick out my name and it says Lieutenant Crandall is a punk ass bitch. I mean, and it hit me. And then I read it again and then, just pause for a second. And I hope that you weren't in this scenario, but imagine you are, like that's you. Like, what do you think to yourself in that moment? I mean, I think who wrote it, quite frankly. And like, I even maybe later did a little bit of amateur handwriting analysis to try to figure out who wrote it. And is it just this person that thinks this, or does everybody think this? Do I deserve to have this written? Or maybe, is it just hard to fix a unit that's got discipline problems and you're just going to have to take some of that? But it sucked, quite frankly. Growing leaders needed to know that we all go through crap. Like, and I believe that. Like, I mean, I'm sharing that story, but like, if you're leading, it's hard and you've got tough stuff, like Dr. Husted shared earlier. Like, we've all made mistakes and we got to go through our whole portfolio of experiences as we reflect our good stuff, our bad stuff, to figure out kind of how we grow and how we get better. So I've reflected on that story in the moment and I've reflected for it for years and I've shared it as an example. And then the meaning I made of it, just beyond just seeing my name, was I chose discipline for all these reasons I mentioned. And there's no right answer. Discipline could be the right answer. Morale could be the right answer. But there was a right answer for me and it wasn't discipline. And I chose it because other people convinced me that was the right answer. The research demonstrates that authenticity is going to get the most out of our leadership and be the best for the people who are following us. But just lived experience teaches me that. It teaches all of us that. And one of the freeing, I think we've even heard the word liberating messages of the process that you're going to go through with us is this idea that there's no right answer. There's only a right answer for us.